Once upon a time, in a small mountain village surrounded by tall pine trees and morning fog, there lived a 24-year-old young man named Marco. From the outside, he looked like any other guy, healthy, strong, and always on the move. But inside, his mind was never still. His thoughts were like an endless storm, bouncing between regrets from the past and worries about the future. Every day felt like a marathon in his head with no finish line in sight. He couldn't sleep well, couldn't focus, and couldn't remember the last time he felt truly at peace. People told him to relax, to take it easy. But how do you relax when your own mind won't stop talking? Ever feel like your brain's just too loud? Like your thoughts keep racing, replaying old mistakes while stressing about what hasn't even happened yet? Yeah, we've all been there. And listen, the story you're hearing right now might just quiet that noise. It is not fantasy or magic. It is something so simple you will wonder how you missed it your whole life. Stick around till the end, because there's a lesson here that can genuinely change how you see your own mind. And hey, if stories like this help you breathe a little easier, don't forget to subscribe. You'll want more of these moments. One evening, while sitting near the village river, Marco overheard two travelers talking about a wise old man who lived high up in the mountains. They said he used to be a well-known psychologist in the city who had helped many people find peace. Years ago, he'd left the noise of the city behind and moved to a quiet village near nature, where he still shared his wisdom with anyone who came to him. For the first time in months, Marco felt hope. He thought, maybe this man can help me calm my restless mind. So the next morning, he packed a small bag and began his journey toward the mountains. The road was steep and dusty, twisting through thick forests and rocky trails. After several days of walking, Marco finally reached the little village in the hills. There he found a small wooden house covered in green vines, and on the porch sat an old man with silver hair and peaceful eyes, sitting quietly as if listening to the wind. Marco hesitated, then stepped closer and said softly, "Sir, I've come a long way. My mind is restless and I can't stop thinking. I can't find peace. Can you help me?" The old man slowly opened his eyes, smiled gently, and replied, "So, you're looking for peace?" Marco nodded. The old man stood up and said, "All right then, I'll give you a small task. Do it carefully, and you'll find your answer." He went inside and came back with a glass of water filled to the very top, so full that even one wrong step would make it spill. He handed the glass to Marco and said, "Walk from here to the edge of the village and come back, but remember, you must not spill even a single drop." Marco looked surprised. "That's it?" he asked. "That's it," the old man replied with a calm smile. Marco took the glass carefully and began to walk. The path was narrow and busy. People talked, kids played, and dogs barked in the distance. Shopkeepers called to customers, and the wind blew against his arms, but Marco didn't look at any of it. His eyes stayed locked on the glass, every step slow and deliberate. His entire focus was on keeping the water steady. For the first time in his life, his mind wasn't bouncing around. It was silent. Step by step, he made it to the end of the village, and then all the way back without spilling a single drop. When he returned, he smiled proudly and said, "I did it. I didn't spill any water." The old man nodded, pleased. "Good," he said. "But tell me, did you notice the children playing by the road? Did you hear the dogs barking? Did you see the people passing by?" Marco frowned slightly and said, "No, I didn't see or hear anything. I was just focused on the glass." The old man's eyes softened and he smiled again. "That, my boy, is the secret you've been searching for. When your attention was on that glass, your mind stopped wandering. You weren't thinking about yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's worries. You were right here, in this very moment. That's what peace is. It is not something you find outside. It is something that appears when your mind finally stops running away from the present." Marco stood there quietly, letting the words sink in. For the first time in years, his mind wasn't tangled up in regrets or fears. It was simply still. He looked at the old man and asked softly, "So peace, it's already inside me?" The old man nodded. "Yes, you've just forgotten how to feel it." He pointed toward the sunset in the distance and said, "Look, the sky changes. The sun moves slowly, but it never rushes. The birds return home every evening, but they never worry about tomorrow. They live in the moment, and that's why they're free. As the sun dipped behind the hills, painting the sky in gold and red, Marco bowed his head and said quietly, "Thank you. I think I finally understand." The old man chuckled softly and replied, "You don't need to understand it, son. You just need to live it." Marco smiled, turned around, and began walking back down the same dusty road he had taken earlier. The mountains looked the same, the air felt the same, but something inside him had changed. For the first time in his life, he wasn't thinking about where he was going or what he'd done wrong. He was simply here, in this moment, and that was enough. If this story made you stop for a second, maybe take a deeper breath, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that calm your mind and inspire your heart. Remember, peace isn't something that appears when life gets quiet. Peace begins the moment you do. So take it slow, stay present, and keep your glass steady. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.